Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. My name is Kylie, also known as I of Kai Creations here on YouTube, and I am an art YouTuber. And today we're doing something a little bit different. I actually did some digital art, and this was all done on Procreate, and this was a project of mine that I really wanted to do because it's for gifts for family. So yeah, this is going to be a calendar for the year 2026, and I wanted to get this done quickly, so I wasn't waiting till the last minute. I'm bad about that sometimes, so wanted to make sure I got this done at a decent time. And this really all sparked in my mind to do a calendar because my grandma has a calendar in her kitchen, and she's had one as long as I can remember, and she like actually uses it. Like, she writes stuff down in there and all of that. And a lot of people don't, like, they'll have a calendar but they don't use it, but I know that she will use it, so I know this is like a practical gift that I can get her that is also something kind of handmade, and there's a lot of intention and love put into the gift. So, and I've gifted her creative gifts before, and she's very sentimental, so she loves it all, but like this one I'm very proud of. And yeah, I'm just very proud of this. And I'm also going to give it to a few other people just because I put so much work into it, and I want other people in my family to get to have my art around the house. So yeah, this first one here is January, and you just saw the little tracing. I was just tracing the letters so I could get, that's not the font I ended up using. I ended up pulling this into Adobe Illustrator, and I used, what's the name of this font? Bodini. This is one of my favorite fonts. I think that's how you say it. This is one of my favorite fonts ever. I use it quite often if I'm using anything that needs typing on it. So yeah, and now we are in February. So my goal with this calendar was for it to be art that is inspired by the month without holidays. And that was really hard because I know a lot of people, including myself, sometimes they think of a month and the first thing you think of is a holiday or like family birthday or something. So, or a specific date, anniversary, whatever. So I kind of tried to get that out of my head because not everyone celebrates all the holidays. So I just tried to, you know, if that makes sense, I tried to keep it non-holiday related, but also kind of related to the month. So January I did a snowy owl because it's still winter, and we love owls in our family because of my mother. So I wanted to do that. For February, I wanted to lean into like the pink a little bit. I know I didn't want to go Valentine's Day super into that, but I wanted to maybe do pink because I couldn't really think of anything for February. So I was like, oh, maybe I could do pink because I don't do colorful stuff very often. So I was like, oh, okay, pink, cool. And I just wanted to do these little flowers, and I found this reference on Pexels, which is a site that you can get free photos you can use as reference for your artwork. And so yeah, I did that for February, and honestly I really liked the little squiggly thing I was doing with this one. Like, I really liked it. So yeah, and now we're on March. March was a bit more difficult. I thought like grassy fields was kind of where I wanted to lean towards because I wanted to draw like a grassy field and some flowers in there. And yeah, it was hard because I wanted to, with this project, I wanted to draw inspiration from references, but I didn't want to copy from reference the whole time. I really wanted to play with lighting on my own and trying out different textures because I don't do digital art very often. So this was very exploratory as I was doing this. So, and I actually learned a lot doing this, and I'm very excited for that. But so this is where I started for March. I ended up scrapping this whole one because it just looks a little too cartoony for what I was wanting to do. And so yeah, I scrapped the whole thing, and I was like, I said grassy field, so we're gonna go straight grassy field, nothing else is happening. And I actually really like this one. This one also was definitely very highly inspired by a reference photo, but I really did try to put my own not spin on it, because it's pretty close to the reference photo. I don't know. I played with the flowers. I didn't copy the flowers exactly, and I was really playing with texture in this one. You'll see here in a moment all my different brushes I was playing with, and it was really fun. So it's not super out there, but I do think it looks good at the end, and I had a fun time exploring different ways I could kind of create this field of grass, if that makes sense. All right, and now we are on April, and I was a little sneaky here. I know I said no holidays, but I was like, I couldn't think of anything. Or like Easter was the first thing that came to my mind, of course. And then I was like, well, what else is in April? Okay, April, spring, right? And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, Easter. It can just be bunnies, because I love bunnies. I think they're so cute. And when I lived in Colorado, they were everywhere in the spring, and they're just so cute. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do bunnies. Not Easter, just bunnies. And I really love how this one turned out. Like, I really, really like it. The bunnies are so cute. And I'm not going to lie, this one took me quite a while. Especially trying to get the texture of the bunny's fur right without having to draw, of course, every little hair strand. And then by the time I was done with the first one, I was like, I cannot possibly draw a whole nother bunny right now. So I flip-flopped them, and they were almost basically the same anyway, so I just kind of like squished him a little bit so he wouldn't be like the exact same. And then I made him like a more grayish brown than like the warm brown. And yeah, I really like it. I know you can probably still tell that they're the same drawing, just flip-flopped, but I still think it's cute. I really like it. And then I just, for the lettering of the month, I did like that, and I really like that. And then I added some flowers. So that one was very fun and cute. And for May, I was like, I just kind of want to draw like a bird or something. And I don't even know what kind of bird this is. Sorry. I'm not good with like animal species names or anything like that. I just found this really cute bird on, I believe, Pexels again. And it was cute. It had like a cutesy little blue head. And I wanted to add these like on the branch, and then add the little pink flowers, because I just thought it was so cute, or it would be cute. So that's what I did for May. It's not super out there, but it actually is one of my favorites. Sorry, that's my chair. It was one of my favorite illustrations for the calendar, just because I think I did the bird really well, which is crazy because I used to be so against drawing animals, guys. Like, people would be like, draw a dog, and I'd be like, I can't draw animals, sorry. And now I love drawing animals. So the phases we go through in our art journeys is funny. But yeah, I really like this bird. I also really like the owl. So I'm thinking I really like drawing flying animals, which is fun. So yeah. And we are about to be on June, which this one was completely from my head. And you can probably tell because when something's completely from my head, I can't render it fully properly because I just don't have that skill set yet. I can't picture things in my mind. I can like half picture things in my mind, if that makes sense. Like I can kind of see it, but I can't see like a fully rendered idea of what I'm thinking of. So I know some people can. Some people can like picture like something, like a full blown picture in their head, which is cool. But that is not me. So yeah, I really wanted to do like a picnic theme because I personally love sitting outside, reading a book, drawing, having a little snack. That stuff is fun to me. And I was like, July's a little too hot for that. June is probably a good month to put that as the art. So I did a little charcuterie board thing with bread, cheese, and some fruit. And then, like I said, I love reading when I'm outside. So I put a book as well. And then I just end up adding a little bit of texture. And on this like blue gingham blanket, which hindsight, I should have used a bit more rendering in the blanket probably for like the background so that it could separate from the background a little better. But that's okay. This whole calendar was a very long journey and a challenge for me, so I'm not gonna harp on myself too much. But yeah, that is June and I really, really like it. I think it's very cute. And now July. I'm not gonna lie, this one is very much exactly like the photo because it's my photo. I took it. So this is a photo from my trip to Hawaii, and this is one of the photos from the Nepali coast. And that was absolutely my favorite part of my graduation trip there, and I just loved it. I love the water, I love nature, so going somewhere where there's no buildings and you are literally just in the ocean around all this nature, and there's like dolphins and we got to swim and we saw jellyfish, turtles, just so much fun. So this is a great memory for me, and my grandma, who is the one I'm gifting this calendar to, also was on that trip with me. It was me, her, and my aunt. So I just think it'd be like a cool little, sneak peek in there. Hey, this is a photo from when we were in Hawaii. I think it's just, I don't know. I thought it was a cute idea. And I really love this photo, so I had to do it justice. So of course I copied it directly from the reference. I didn't change too much, except I added sky rays like I did in the owl illustration from the beginning. And I really like the way that looks. Because it was very hazy and bright that day anyways, so yes, this right here. I think it really adds to the illustration, so yeah. And then that's supposed to say July. I figured out in a sec. There we go. Alright. Oh, I feel like I'm talking a lot, guys. Anyways, this is August. I don't know about you guys, but when I was in school, we did so many bonfires in my backyard because this was just like the perfect time. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, it didn't rain. I mean, it's Missouri, so it kind of rained sometimes, but it wasn't a super like rainy month or anything. So August was like the perfect thing to do for a bonfire, and I really love this illustration so much. But yeah, and I enjoyed drawing fire. I didn't know I could do it that well, so that's pretty crazy. Alright, and then this is September. This one is also another one that is basically from my head. I used one reference to kind of get an idea of what a windowsill would look like from the inside, like how I would shade that. And otherwise, this is from my head. So, love that for me. Super proud of that. I end up changing the trees a couple of times just because they're going to be blurred out because you're looking through the window and it's raining. So I wanted it to be kind of blurry, if that makes sense. I used a Gaussian blur on the whole illustration in the back there, but I still wanted it to kind of make sense and the shading to still make sense, because that was a huge part of this process and project, was also to learn a bit about digitally creating things and how I can, do lighting without having an actual reference. So I just decided the light was coming from the left, mainly the left and above, and it's like a soft light. That's why there's not too many harsh shadows, because it's a rainy, cloudy day, so I didn't want too much light either. So yeah, I do really enjoy this illustration, and I am very proud of it. See, this part I needed help with. This right here is what I used a reference for, so I can make sure I got it kind of correct. And then, yep, we're adding the raindrops, and you'll see me do a couple of effects here with the Gaussian blur and copying things and moving things around. I think that has become my favorite part of digital art, is that I don't have to draw every little thing individually like I normally would with something that is traditional art and fine art, or traditional art. I don't know why I said fine art, but anyways, digital art is very good for that. So yeah, and now we're on to October. This is also pretty much straight from the reference. I did play a lot with texture here, and at this point I had drawn so many. I did this all within the span of like less than a week. So when I could not get the boot right, I sure did trace that thing. I sure did. And I do not care. It is my picture. I took that photo when I was in Tennessee. So don't come at me. I'm not copying somebody else's stuff. This is my photo. Anyways, I really end up I put a lot of effort into this one, and I think it really shows, especially because I could focus on the things around the boot, since I literally traced the boot. So I didn't have to perfect the form and worry about that. I was more able to kind of work on the rendering of everything, and I love this illustration so much. I really love the textures I put in, and like the water brushes were super nice for this. Procreate brushes, I have no downloaded brushes. All of my brushes are straight up what Procreate offers, and they do good. There's some really good brushes in there, especially if you're doing stuff like this where you need I needed a certain brush for the texture of the jeans. I just went through and tried to find something that had this gritty texture and a bit of a noisy texture. And same thing for the rocks. I put a lot of that same kind of brush in the rocks. And then I really love the gouache brushes with the new Procreate library. I don't know how everyone feels about Procreate's new library of brushes. My only complaint is that I have to switch back and forth all the time. And I wish I could combine them onto one so I could have them all in one spot, but that's it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I really love the gouache brushes. If you guys have any opinion on the new Procreate update, let me know down in the comments. I want to see what you guys think, especially you guys that use Procreate often. Anyways, totally sidetracked there. But now I'm drawing the leaves, and this is where I really love that I can duplicate and move things around, because I just drew the leaves once and then I spread them all over the illustration, because why do I want to waste my time drawing 30 leaves when I can just copy and paste them? Anyways though, really like this illustration, and now we are on to November. I would say this is one of the more boring illustrations. I was really stumped on November. November for me is I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts on November. I just feel like it's like a stepping stone to get to December in my head. Like October, love October. Then there's November, and then there's December where you get to have time off and be with your family, and then the new year and all the things. So November's just kind of like meh to me. I don't really think of anything when I think of November. So this illustration, I do like it. I like the texture that I used in it, and I went a little more abstract, but still kind of realism with this one. So I do enjoy it. I just think it's one of the weaker ones of the whole calendar, if we're being honest. And now we are in December, which, let me tell you guys something. I have learned in this calendar project, I love drawing snow for some reason. I am not the biggest fan of snow, specifically driving in it, but drawing snow, love it. Had so much fun. For December, I was like, I wanted to do kind of night so you could have a light. That's like the thing I could think of in December, is it's always dark because it gets dark so early. So I was like, I really want to do some kind of light outside. And then I found this reference of this lamp post that I kind of drew from a little bit. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And then I just added snow and made it like kind of ambient, and I really, really like it. But yeah, so here's the calendar completed. I will get an actual physical copy soon. Yeah, I had a really good time making this. And I also got a mini one for myself because I don't use a calendar that would be this big, but I will use a little one. So that's my project. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.